Hey everybody, I'm Doug, that's Connor, and you're listening to the Bethel School District Presents podcast, and we have a great show for you today. We'll be heading over to Spanaway Lake High School to talk with Ileana Ruiz, one of our dual language teachers, and three of her amazing students. And one thing we asked the students when we were over there was if there was a show or a movie or something that they watched to help them learn Spanish while they were at home. Everybody had the same answer, as actually telenovelas. Even Ileana Ruiz said telenovelas was her favorite thing. Nobody, Connor, talked about my favorite Spanish learning show, and that is Dora the Explorer.
Swipe or no swiping?
Swiper.
Swiper?
Yeah, that's his name.
Swiper, no swiper.
It's so close. Swiper, no swiping.
Swiper, no swiping.
Well, that was a fantastic line reading. Thank you very much, Connor. I know you don't know much about this show. I have looked into it and got some trivia questions for you just for fun so our audience can play along at home. Before we get to that, Dora was the first Latina animated character on Nickelodeon, and she really helped normalize being bilingual for a generation. She was also the first Latina inflatable in my beloved Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And you might not know it, but her name actually comes from a Spanish word. The Spanish word for explore is exploradora.
Me encanta Dora la Exploradora.
Well, that was enchanting. Thank you very much, Google Translate. I think helped you out there a little bit. So here are a few Dora the Explorer questions for you, Connor. We're going to go fast and furious at these. What kind of animal is Dora's best friend, Boots?
Tiger.
It's a multiple choice. Hang on.
Okay.
A monkey, B, a mouse, C, a dog, or D, a backpack?
I'm going to say a monkey.
That is correct. And actually, if you had said B, that would be because you're a purist. Boots was actually supposed to be a mouse initially that fit in Dora's pocket, but they turned him into a monkey. Dora's cousin Diego got his own spin-off show. The name of that show was Diego's Ecuadorian Adventure. That's A. B, Cooking with Diego. C, Go Diego Go. Or D, Nacho Libre.
C.
You are correct. Go Diego Go is the name of that show. One question remaining. Dora was on for blank years and won blank Emmys. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
A. A, 19 years, 16 Emmys. B, 19 years, 0 Emmys. C, 19 years, 19 Emmys. Or D, 10 years, 10 Emmys.
C.
19 and 19. I know that you love Dora so much, but she actually only won 16 Emmys. The answer is A, 19 years and 16 Emmys. Well, with that behind us now, thankfully, we're going to head to Spanaway Lake High School and talk with Ileana Ruiz, one of our amazing dual language teachers, and three of her freshman students, Britia, Caesar, and Leslie.
Thank you all for joining us. And Ileana, this is an interesting group because this is the first cohort to reach high school in our Spanish dual language program. I'm sure there's been lots of changes as these students have gone from kindergarten all the way up to high school. Can you tell us a little bit about what the dual language program looks like here in ninth grade?
Yeah, of course. So it's the first cohort that we have coming from all the way from kindergarten. When they arrive to the high school, they already have a good foundation of their Spanish skills. Our job as educators, it's here at the high school level, it's to develop and enhance more of those skills that they already have. So in terms of the class, we have lessons that are going to help students develop critical thinking, analytical writing, academic discussion. So I want my students to be able to use Spanish not only as a language, but as a tool of communication so they can become leaders in the community.
And so, Leslie, of the three students here, you're the only one who has been in the program since kindergarten at Thompson Elementary School. So you've got a really unique perspective here, having seen and grown with this program. What has been the biggest changes for you personally as a student as the program has grown from elementary all the way up to high school?
I would say probably the biggest change would just be kind of just getting used to switching between the languages since, like, when we were little in kindergarten, we were used to that 90-10 model, then it switched to 20-80 and just kept going like that. But now it's kind of like you got to get ready to flip the switch and go from English to Spanish because you can't just talk to your gym teacher in Spanish when they speak English.
And do you feel like having gone through every year, do you feel like every year it's kind of preparing you a little bit more for the next year?
Honestly, I guess, yeah. I just
Okay.
feel prepared, just learning more every year.
So for you all, you started in kindergarten. I know that Britia and Cesar, you both came into the program in 6th grade. Were you already learning Spanish at that point, or was that your first introduction to the language?
Honestly, a teacher just came up to me and she asked me if I wanted to join. So I said yeah, but then I didn't actually think she was going to put me into it. So yeah, I was just there. I came.
Actually, my first language has Spanish, and I learned English the past years. The language helped me a lot to improve my English and Spanish because I can learn more to communicate in English. And now I think that my level of English is really, really high.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And a lot of people don't realize that the dual language program works both ways. For native Spanish speakers, they learn English, and native English speakers can learn Spanish. What was the hardest part for you in starting to learn English?
I think the pronunciation, because some words in English I see and I say, oh, how I pronounce that? I can't pronounce it. But my teachers help me so much to have a good pronunciation like this that you hear it right now.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And for you, Leslie, what was the hardest thing about starting to learn Spanish, if you can remember back all the way to kindergarten?
From when I was little, both my parents, I learned, like growing up, I was used to hearing both languages, but mostly Spanish. Probably just trying to keep the balance between both languages because it's like many things are different from one language to another. And it can be like obviously the language, the way you pronounce, spelling, pronunciation, all that.
Love it. And Britia, how about you?
I was just scared that I was going to mess up if someone like called me out to read or something. I would just get so shy or I just wouldn't talk. And then after that, I just started talking more and more.
Ileana, obviously we're talking a lot about language here because that's a huge part of what this program is, but it's not the only part. It's also culture. And you're doing a lot to teach these students about different Spanish-speaking cultures. Can you tell us a little bit more about that aspect of the program?
Yeah, of course. I think the dual program right here at the high school is not just about language, basically not just the grammar portion, that's a big piece, but cultural learning is deeper. We focus on identity, history, social, political issues. So the classroom becomes like a safe space of reflection for students to have that conversations so they can be able to connect with their own identities. And just to give you some examples, we can talk about Afro-Latino identities, indigenous and native groups, the impact of colonization, immigration. So there's a lot of more reflective and specialized texts that the students are going to be reading and reflecting on.
For the students here, and Leslie, we'll just start with you. Have there been any particular elements of that, whether it's learning it in class or celebrations that you've done as like extracurricular, that have been really meaningful for you?
I feel like a lot of the cultural nights that take place like throughout all the years I've been in dual language. I remember in elementary we had a bunch of dances, like we would do stuff for Father's Day, Mother's Day. And then our whole little cohort would just get together and we brought out like these little dances and dressed up as like little cowboys and cowgirls, or we had our folklorico dresses on. So I think that was fun growing up and just seeing like your culture come alive in another place, even though that's not its origin.
And Britia, what about you? Cultural celebrations, which ones have really stuck out for you over your years in this program?
I remember in middle school when all the moms, like, they gather up together and they brought, like, different types of food and you got to try all of them. And we also got rewards from Miss Aldana since it was, like, the last year of being in middle school. So, I don't know, I thought that was cool because you got to try a lot of new plates from other moms.
Yeah, and what about you, Cesar?
I'll say Dia de Muertos because I remember in Miss Reed's class we make posters, all decoration about that celebration. I really like it so much.
Well, so it's obvious that you guys have a lot of fun in this program, which I'm sure is very important. But there are some real tangible benefits that these students are going to graduate with. Can you talk a little bit about what they're going to be leaving high school with?
Okay, they're gonna be bilingual, of course, and I think being bilingual is a lifelong asset. So we're gonna have students that are gonna graduate knowing how to navigate different cultures. They're gonna be able to communicate and think critically in Spanish and English. I always tell my students that being bilingual, you have the ability to serve your community, help twice the people. So they're gonna be able to be leaders in their communities and help different populations. In terms of college, they have access to scholarships. They have access to apply to study abroad programs, job opportunities that require to be bilingual. But I think some of the benefits is developing that sense of identity, the sense of empathy for others. And if they choose to move to a country where the first language is Spanish, they're going to have the same opportunities, professional opportunities, that any other people in that particular country. And then I can keep talking about different different benefits.
Well, we'll let the students talk a little bit about how it's impacted them. And from what I understand, you already have your seal of biliteracy and have already earned your world language credit. How has knowing two languages, as long as you have, impacted you outside of the classroom, just in your life?
Be bilingual give you many skills and give you many opportunities to improve in your life. So you can have more opportunities to job, like a translator, or I don't know, in important companies that needed to you speak more languages like English, Spanish, French, whatever. But the most basically has English and Spanish.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's very few companies out there where the less you know is better. I think the more that you can know, especially if it's a second language, is absolutely an asset. Britia, over to you. What is a way that being bilingual and biliterate has impacted your life outside the classroom?
I get to translate my family. Sometimes people in my family, they don't know what to say back, or when we're like in stores and that. But mostly people from here, because I've noticed that there has been some people that don't know English at all, and you kind of get to help them out a bit on what to do, or explain them at least.
Absolutely. That's incredibly.
Helping them out a little.
Yeah, fantastic for the community and for you too to get practice in. That's awesome. Leslie, how about you?
I would say sort of the same thing. Just knowing that, I don't know, I feel like it's reassuring for other people knowing that there's a program here that offers that, and the students, like for example, that since like out of our lives, I also do see here, like walking around, I do notice a lot of students that don't speak English, just like how Britzia was saying. And I feel like that makes you feel proud to know that you can help someone out. You can help someone else out just by knowing their language too.
Yeah, it is. It's almost a little superpower. So, Ileana, this is the first year that this program has been at Spanaway Lake High School, but I understand you do have some success stories already. Anything you want to share with us?
Yes, and it's actually funny because Ritzia already spoke about that success story already. So I think one of the success stories is seeing the students support each other, not only in the classroom of dual language, being able to help other students to navigate their classes. We have a lot of students that come from other countries that don't speak a word of English. So these students become like the person of reference for the students to translate, to students to communicate with their teachers. And I think that on its own, it's really powerful.
Absolutely, and our district does have a multilingual education program that helps those students, but it's awesome when the students can help the students. That just gives you a sense of community, a sense of welcome. I love that so much. For you students, our last question, and we love talking to high school students especially about your dreams for the future after you graduate. I know you're all freshmen here, but as you look forward those next few years, do you have any future career goals already in mind, and does dual language play a part in that? Leslie, we'll start with you.
So for a while, I've been thinking, maybe since about 5th grade, I've been wanting to be an immigration lawyer. And I think that that will help out not only the Hispanic community, but a lot of other communities out there that really need that support. And as much as I know about myself, if I need to raise my voice for others, I will. And I'll do whatever it takes to help anyone out. So I think that's good.
Love that answer. We've asked a lot of students this question. I've never heard lawyer before, an immigration lawyer. I love that. Britia, how about you?
I've been thinking lately a lot about being a cop when I grow up. I don't know, it just caught my attention. I want to help out with the government, and also having Spanish on me, I feel like that'll help me out a lot because I can also communicate with people that don't speak English at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, and our district's a great place to be. The Pierce County Skills Center offers a criminal justice class. Definitely something to look into. And Cesar, we'll end with you.
Not a profession, but a job is be a translator because I want to help to person that don't understand anything to English or understand the person that I need help for understand more for any situation like in a hospital person that will stay in a bad situation. I really need help to a person that translate.
3 very worthy career goals, and that's going to end up our conversation. But before we leave, considering I am willfully ignorant of the Spanish language, let's go around the horn, and everyone, including you, Doug, can teach me one Spanish word. So, Ileana, we'll start with you.
Xolo escuincle.
I'm not even going to try to say that. I'm going to wait and listen back when I'm editing, and then I'll learn it. But what does that mean?
Have you seen Coco?
I have
Coco,
not
the
seen Coco.
movie.
See, that's my problem.
So
That's
the
why I don't
movie.
speak Spanish.
So the spirit guide, the doggy, it's an ancient dog in Mexico, and that word is all the way from the Aztecs.
Well, it's got a beautiful ring to it. Britia, your turn. Good word.
Learn, aprender.
Okay, and that's fitting because I need to learn. So. Leslie's still thinking.
Okay, we're going to do esperanza,
And what does that mean?
hope.
That's another good one. All right, Caesar, rounding back to you. Pressure's on. Good word.
Cuidado,
I like the way it sounds. What's it mean?
careful.
Okay. And Doug, no, Doug, you're not off the hook yet. What's your word?
Well, I guess there's only one word I can choose. And Connor, it's adios. Thank you so much for our dual language classroom today. Ileana Ruiz, Spanish and dual language teacher, and of course our freshman students, Leslie, Cesar, and Britia. And we will be back again next week with another great show.
Adios. Bye.